Okay.
Welcome back, everybody, to episode 4 with Michael Cavilleri and his beautiful moglie, Maria.
Maria.
Maria, the most beautiful. No, I can't sing.
I just met a girl named Maria.
Maria.
So we're going to be talking with Michael Cavilleri. You are here with Sicilian Queens. I can't wait to talk to Michael about his story and continue, and I'm sure that we're going to have many episodes. Maybe while he's in Sicily, we can do some Zoom meetings and talk about what's going on in his life. So thank you and welcome back, everybody. Have you grabbed yourself a glass of wine?
All right.
Have you drank your wine? What to
Drink mine.
I'm here to sleep. I'll be on the couch before you know.
Well, thank you, everybody. Present to you Michael Cavilleri. Talk to us a little bit more with episode 4. A little bit, I think I really want to know about your nonno. What was his name?
Agattino Alabrandi. Agattino.
Agattino
Gaetano Alabrandi.
Oh.
So, Agattino emigrated from Limina, 1921, to New York.
Yep.
Very special man. Never spoke a lick of English. No English.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Niente.
Nothing.
Nulla.
Niente. So, the things that I remember about Agattino, I wrote in my screenplay. I used to wait for him every morning in the summertime when I was off from school. I'd be sitting at the dining room table.
How old were you?
Maybe 8, 9, and I would sit because he was starting a garden in my backyard. We had a big backyard, so he wanted to build his garden back there, you know. So he would come every morning, and every morning I'd wait, and I'd see this hat walk by the window, and I knew Grandpa was there. Nonna was there, and he would knock on the back door, and he'd go, Michele. So I'd open the door, he'd come and sit at the dining room table with me, and we sit there, and then we look at each other, and we go, you ready? Pronti? 1, 2, 3. We want juice. We want juice. And my mom would come down, straggling down the stairs, with her hair sticking up. She goes, okay, I get the juice. Have our juice, and we go out to the garden. And we spend hours in the garden, and he wouldn't be able to talk to me, like explain it to me in English, but he would touch me, he would smile, he would put this on my head. Perfect.
You didn't need words. You didn't need words.
A little bit here and there. Yeah, a little bit here and there, and I understood everything he said.
Yeah.
He taught me lessons through broken English, about being a man, about the way you plant the roots in your life is the way you plant friendships in your life.
Yeah.
And if you do that firm and you do it right and you nurture it, it'll come back and be strong. And these are the things that I always keep in my head. And it scarred me for life in a good way, because that's the expectation I have from people. But most of the time, those people can't live up to those expectations because there's Agattino, and then there's people. But Grandpa had 9 kids.
Can we just stop one minute? A lot of people, there's a stigma with Sicilians, right, because of the mafia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the majority of Sicilians, Sicilian people, including people with including mafioso people, they have strong foundations of value, respect and honor. It's traced through into you, into Lena, into myself, because it's a stigma. People just put you on as a stigma, you know, you're Sicilian, ooh, mafia. But mafia people, the mafia didn't start with robbing and stealing people. It started with protection.
Yes.
Protection against people who had a lot and gave to people, you know, who had nothing. Right? Salvatore Giuliano. Giuliano was my father.
Robin Hood.
I've got
Robin Hood.
I've got records from my father who would listen to the story of Giuliano.
Yeah.
No, and I listened to him. He wasn't a criminal. He just robbed because people had a lot of money. Some people, had too much money. And
he gave to people that didn't have. Yeah.
But going back is about values and respect. And yet, because we are brought up in that, we assume that other people have that.
Yes.
But they don't. But they don't.
But they don't.
But they don't.
Yeah.
And you know what? I will never change or want to change anything that I was raised with, because I was given the best respect from my mom and my grandfather, the best lessons that I carry with me today. I got my integrity, my soul. You can't take that. So a lot of these people, especially in Hollywood, I hate to say it, but they give away a lot. I don't do that. I don't care about that. It's about really what means something to me, what's honorable, what's something that I feel strongly about. And I want to represent us in a great way. And I want to represent the Sicilian people in a great way. So in Hollywood, it's very problematic for an actor just to get off, just to be, like you said, the stigma of being a mafiosi or being this or being that. You have to battle that your whole career. And so I decided, you know what? I don't want to do it anymore. This is why I want to create my own stuff, create my own story about positive things, positive portrayals of Sicilian Americans and what they did to build this country, what they gave to do for my country in America. They built the whole country.
Yeah. And people forget, people forget the Italians, the Sicilians. They're your electrical engineers. They're your fashion designer. Your vehicle makers. They're so many
best of the best.
Absolutely, and they forget. And especially in Australia here, we've changed the cultural palette of this nation. This nation used to be a meat pie or a meat and three veg. Now, when I went to school, finocchio and radicchio was like, what on earth are you eating? Now it's like, you know what? You go and pay $25 a kilo for what I'm eating because I get it from the backyard and I'm growing finocchio in my garden. But now it's like, oh, this is so trendy.
It's a farmer's
life. This is our life.
Yeah. Well, that's my grandfather. I mean, and it's funny because when I went to Lima, the first time I went to Naples, I said, that's interesting. My grandfather kind of does that. And then when I went to Lima and I started to see what they were eating, I said, that's Grandpa. I mean, this is what he does. The olives, the tomatoes, the thing. I mean, he came, didn't speak any English, worked on the Empire State Building, right? Was a laborer, raised 9 kids, lost 3 kids at age 38, 40, and 19. He lost 3 kids that died. And you know what? I was just telling my Maria, I just wrote something about him in my screenplay. Then my brother was telling me, he said, did you know that when...
That's your next movie. That's your next movie.
Well, it's in this movie.
Oh, it's in this movie. Okay.
Yeah, in the New York movie. And he says, my brother said to me, he goes, did you know that Grandpa, when he lived in Harlem, he used to cook downstairs in the boiler room. He used to throw grates on top of the boiler and cook sausage and everything. And it would be, the whole apartment building would be smelling food and sausage. And everybody would go down there and eat, right? Unbelievable. And then he said, when Grandpa died, he was known as the mayor of Whitestone. That's where I grew up. And they had a police escort for him over to the cemetery. This is the kind of man he was.
Wow.
He was a man that everybody loved, everybody respected, everybody admired. And that's why it's left such a scar in a beautiful way on me. And all my cousins, we always talk about Agatino, Alabrandi, and who he is, and what he did, and who he was, and just and no English, nothing. But he raised a family with everything. Here's a picture of him when he was younger.
Oh, what a handsome
man. Look at those cheekbones.
There you go.
Cheekbones. Actually, Michael, can I tell you, we've got a film here, an Australian-made movie, and it stars Pia Miranda, and it's called Looking for Alabrandi.
I read about that. You need to. It's a girl, right?
It's a girl. Yeah, you have to look at it. Yeah, it's getting Sydney.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Seen it? Yeah. Okay. I didn't know whether you knew that.
Yeah.
I want to say something.
That's him older.
That's Grandpa older.
Oh.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Mm.
Now, out of all the pain, as I said to you, the refining of a diamond, you are. People look at pain today and they say, it's too hard.
Nah.
But
Nah.
when you allow the pain to refine you, behind it and underneath it is the gift.
Oh, there's
You
the
can't
gift that I
because if you run from that pain, it will destroy you. It's
absolutely.
This is your hero's journey. You slayed
Absolutely.
the dragons.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, Carmela. They all said to me, a lot of people know me, and I don't really talk about being an actor. I never talk about anything that I've ever done. So, you know, I have a fitness studio and I work with people, whatever, but they all know me as Mikey, and I'm a gregarious, happy-go-lucky, but I never talk about my creative side and whatever. So when they came to see the movie, they were like, what the? Like, and they're like, how do you're so brave. Because to me, I don't have fear of emotions. I don't have fear of feeling something. I don't have fear of finding my mother in the bathroom and crying my name, moaning.
No.
We did a
Because
scene in the movie.
Once you've slaved your dragons and you've looked at fear, it's no longer fear. It's not fear.
Exactly.
It's your perception of what you think that fear is.
Exactly. When my parents died and my sister died, I always tell this to Maria. I said, you know what? Nothing can hurt me like that in life again.
No.
Nothing.
No.
So I don't care about anything else.
You've been refined by the refiner itself. When you've
I'm
lost
driving. I'm
3-4
driven.
people in your life.
I'm driven by their memory.
no
I'm driven by yeah, absolutely. They drive my memory. They drive my soul. They drive my heart. Nothing can stop me because I know that I have them there. So I always tell my wife, it's going to get done. It's going to happen. So
And that's the difference.
I never
Oh,
met
Maria, they would have loved you. Oh.
I met them in the movie. It looks like I met them, but I've actually never met them. I know them only through the stories.
Maybe.
Just remember.
You know,
We know how life is divinely done. Michael's mother would have drawn you to Michael.
Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely. I love that. That's wonderful.
So go
and
on,
you know what?
Evolution.
The evolution of who we are is how we fight those battles.
Yeah.
Because if we constantly remain in victim mode, then we don't get anything done. And not to get anything done means you plateau in life. And that is so bloody damn boring. And if you've
That's
got
my wife.
and if you've got passion and soul, do you think you're going to be happy with plateau? That life doesn't. And look, you know, people that want to live there, fantastic. I pray for them. Good luck. But for those that don't want to live in that plateau, that have got that passion and that fuel for life, for wherever that journey takes them, you know what? You can only embrace and applaud these people and recognize their spirit, not be in that situation where you've got to bully and disrespect those people, because that's their fear. That's not you as an individual, because there's a difference between confidence and somebody who has actually gotten arrogance. So when you're arrogant, well, it shows off. But when you're confident and you have belief and conviction of what you do, you are raised to a different level, and your passion fuels you daily. And that fuel is what you go by. And whatever that result is at the end, it doesn't matter, because there's so many things you're going to do in life that's going to please you. And everybody else's opinion about what you're doing is not your business. It's their business. And say whatever they bloody well damn want. You just do what you need to do. And I think what you've done today, Michael, is amazing. And Maria has been along that journey with him. It takes a great man to have a good woman and a good woman to have a great man. But when you do things side by side and you do things together, well done.
I drive her crazy every day. We got to write. And she doesn't want to do it.
But you know what? You know what? I didn't have like someone like his grandpa Gattino. My Italian parents weren't that open and loving, unfortunately. You know, my mother was American. She wasn't as accepted by my grandmother, and she sort of took it out on the kids because we didn't speak Italian. And
Yeah, the grandmother wasn't a nice woman.
so my grandmother was, and I was named after her, Maria Giovanna della Grazie. I carry her name. So you'd think she'd be a little more like favor the young one, but she didn't, unfortunately. So I didn't get that, and you know, so I always struggled to find that passion, and I want to be passion filled, and like, you know, so I get it through him, and it, you know, it's like I have to kind of.
She has no choice, kids. I'm dragging her along the road.
Like a caveman, you're covered with me.
Let's go.
Honestly, just to be totally honest and real, I would be one of those people that would just sort of go because I'm like walking in the dark. I didn't have any light in, you know, that's how I grew up. It was like, figure it out on your own, kid. There was no guidance. There was no one teaching me. And
that's
so
the warrior. That's the warrior in you, though. So
well, thank
the
you.
Warrior. Yes. I love that.
But it's something I still struggle. You know, it's like I really have to like work at it, and it, you know, and I will, and I do, and you know, I'm not gonna just be one of those people that says, "Okay, go without me." I'm not going. I'm going.
Yeah, you go.
I'm going to Sicily for 3 months. She's going. Don't worry.
We're covered.
She's got no choice.
I'll go for a year at this point, especially after all this stuff. I'm like, we'll go. I would love to go live there. I like you did at 20, Carmel. You know, like I would.
We'll go. No worries.
Let's go.
There's no reason not to go.
But when you do stuff like that, you realize your brain becomes more open, and you're not so narrow-minded. You're broader. Your thinking and your perception in life is different. You know, there are different things. When you left from the United States and you went to Sicily, you saw a different kind of world, didn't you, Maria?
But I became worldly. It's like we've covered almost every region in Italy, Sicily. You know, we've gone other places from Greece to Spain to, you know, Prague. I mean, we've covered.
I've been everywhere. Well,
Paris,
I almost
London.
lost you guys.
We've covered so much of the world. And, you know, before I met Michael, I never even traveled past New York, LA. That's it. I never even been on vacation. We didn't grow up going on vacation. I didn't even know what that was. I literally would go camping was my vacation growing up. I didn't understand.
But you're into acting. You love acting. So what brought you into acting? What made you become an actress?
Well, you know what? I mean, maybe it was an escape. I mean, I just had an opportunity when I was, you know, 16 to, they were looking for, actually my first audition was really funny. I never acted before, and I was 15 or 14, and it was for an Interview with a Vampire.
Oh, I love that movie.
Well, listen to this. They wanted an unknown, you know, an unknown.
I could have played that part,
innocent,
by the way.
young, like someone that no one's ever seen. And it was a big like call in New York. In New York, I lived in New York. I grew up there, and I had to go. And I I was greener than I didn't even know what anything was. And they're like, okay, so they asked me a couple questions. They say they'll call me, whatever. Nothing happened. I had to write a letter.
Happens a lot. Nothing happens a lot.
Well, it turned out
business.
It was Kirsten Dunst. I think she's the one that got
Kirsten Dunst did it.
And from there, it was like, okay, like I was like interested in it. And then I was always doing like plays in high school. And I always liked it. I never got the lead. I was always the character, and I didn't understand what that was. And then the character, I always ended up having the funny lines, and I just loved performing. And it's like, I was president of the drama club.
And now she tells me that she wants a certain part in the movie. She goes, I want this part. I'm like, wait a minute, you're playing this?
There you go.
No, but I want this part. Can you imagine?
That brought you there into doing the movies with Michael.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
She got ready.
You know?
So she wants what she wants. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with that. But anyway.
But yeah, you know, and I came out to LA and then came out to be an actor and never looked back.
I gave her the best part of her life. She's got now. My wife.
Yeah.
The best one. The best one.
I would never get casted as like the love interest or the leading lady. I'm like the best friend, you know, in Los Angeles. Okay. I'm the best friend because you're like sassy, you know. So it was a great opportunity for me because it's something that I probably would not have gotten.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I feel I can do, but it just opened a lot of doors for me. It's good.
Amazing.
And
So
now I think now it's time to move to the questions, isn't it, Camilla?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready,
Uh-oh.
Michele? Sei pronti? Sei pronti? Okay.
Is this like a trick questions, Lena?
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. So
I'll try to think as hard as I can.
no, it's some of them are like 3 questions, and then you need to pick 1, 2, or 3. Okay. The first one I want to ask you is, the first question I want you to answer is, I love Sicily because. So
how do you even ask me that question?
I want to know. I want to know what the 3 words. I love Sicily because.
Because that's where my mom and my grandfather are from.
Okay. Now, I'd like to know what movies you've been in.
Oh my Lord. The Stonecutter, Karate Kid, Last Man Standing, My Brother Jack, Ritornato. I've been in several. It's TV, NYPD Blue, ER, Sopranos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I work sharp.
Now, these are a few questions. Now, do you like scacciati, sfingi, or castatelli? Do you know what they are?
Castatelli.
Okay. Limoncello, Marsala, or Averna?
Limoncello.
Okay. Godfathers, Goodfellas, or Scarface?
You got to ask me that question? I'm Sicilian, for God's sakes.
Lasagna with sugo and piselli or without piselli?
Without.
Without.
You don't like the beef?
No.
Really?
Okay.
Nope.
Lasagna with lasagna with boiled egg or no boiled egg?
No boiled egg.
Okay. Figurini, finocchio, or l'arancia sanguini?
Finocchio is good. Finocchio is beautiful, yeah. We eat that a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of comedians that role play Italian mothers and fathers. What do you think about their comic take on using their language and their lack of unity or their lack of understanding of the Australian or perhaps the American culture, and they're turned into comics? Like, there's a few of them online. What's your view about that comic stereotype of the Italian mother and the Italian
I think they're
father?
idiots. I think they're idiots, and I can't stand watching it, and I can't stand having to be part of that as an actor. It turns my stomach because we're much more than that. I tried my whole career to do positive. I went to Washington with my film to have positive portrayal of Italian Americans. Listen, it's fun. It's fun to portray something once, twice, but when it becomes an every time thing, it's not fun anymore. Okay. You know, The Godfather to me is not about the mafia so much as it's about a family.
Yes, it is.
So to me, the greatest films that I watch are, L'Avventura, Bicycle Thief, some of these films that people don't even know, that Shoe Shine, they don't even know exist. They don't even know about these movies. You know what I mean? Yesterday, Today, Tomorrow, Two Women with Sophie Loren. I mean, there's so many beautiful films that are amazing that people don't even understand. And that's my point. When you become a stereotype, and this is what the Italian Americans have become in cinema, it's our own fault. Nobody else's fault. It's my fault. I'll take responsibility if I've ever done anything, or the other act. It's our fault because we're not being creative enough. We're not going there because we are now comfortable in our society, because we have immersed ourselves here, and we have it a little bit easier than the people that are coming in now who are struggling. So it's our fault, and it's our job to stand up above and say, hey, we're better than that. Let's do stuff about our culture that means something. Let's talk about the artists. Let's talk about the painters. Let's talk about the people that change people's lives. And let's talk about the things when people suffered, like Carusi. Let's talk about how my grandfather came to speak English and built buildings. Let's talk about the people they hung in the square in New Orleans. Let's talk about the slaves. We were slaves when we came here, pretty much.
Yes, you were.
Treated like animals. Let's talk about that. Nobody talks about that. But I remember it all. I study it and I remember it. And I defend it. And I say, hey, we're better than what we're perceived as. And it's not good. And if I can do anything about it, that's what I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do in my little world. I'm trying to do what I can to take a part of our culture and make people proud. So when I go to Sicily, when I walk in the streets of Sicily, people love me because they said, an American, a Sicilian American comes back and tries to do something for this country when their own don't even do for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love it. It's in my heart, my soul. I will always do what I can for that culture. It bleeds in my heart.
Yeah.
And we fail. We fail because we don't pick our culture up.
Yeah.
We don't do it. We do it, but there's got to be a lot more of us out there to help our culture.
Totally agree.
And that's really what drove me to this.
And that's what we're hoping to do. So if we can do that in unity, and other Sicilians around the world who want to do that, to embellish every pore of our body, every part of our soul, and bring the ones behind us that have come through, and the discussions about our history, the history that is not told, like you just said. Right. And you've just finished the interview so gracefully, because you've just resonated and said exactly what Carmela and I, why we do that. So I want to thank you, Michael. It's just, I've just found the whole experience so empowering. I can't wait to meet you. Yep, I can't wait to meet you and your amazing wife. And I can't wait for your movie to be shown here in Australia. But I'm going to hand over to Carmela because she wants to say something. So thank you, Michael and Maria.
Thank you, Lena. Thank you very much. From Catania.
I want to finish with, I feel that this is what's rising up, and when it's rising up, I don't want to let it go, you know. I want to finish, Michael, with, you don't know much about my own story. My grandfather came here at the age of 58, just after World War II, and he came with 5 of his sons, the 5. My grandfather worked the railway lines. Now, I can already feel it. He got spat at every day. Wog, Dago, the whole works. And every day he came home and he would wipe himself and start the day again.
God bless
him. Never whinged, complained, or cried wolf. He stuck it until he got with the people around him, until they got respect for him. And they looked at him and he thought, this man isn't whinging, this man isn't complaining, he's standing his ground. He stood his ground. Now, I'm not talking about a lot of migrants today, but a lot of them cry wolf. They get spat out or whatever. They didn't get what our founders got.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
No handouts, no handouts.
No handouts, no Centrelink, no welfare, no nothing. He worked.
I agree. Yeah.
So listen, that is the foundations of my life, with my story, which is a big one as well. And I'm sure Lena and Maria has many, many stories. But first of all, hold on a minute if I can finish. I'm maybe not going to be able to finish that. It's all right. I can't find it. I'm maybe not meant to find it, but that's okay. But I want to finish with, to all the people that created foundations in our lives, we honour them in this episode.
Absolutely.
Your mother, your grandfather, Lena's father, my mother, my grandparents that came. You know, my grandmother, she went to school in America. She went and did grade 2, 3 and 4. Her father migrated and then they went back, but she still couldn't speak English when she came here at 58. So for a stamp, she would go this. That's what she needed, you know. She couldn't speak, but yet they stood and they withstood this country. And that's what strength and courage is about. So for everyone listening here today, you know, this is a great episode to honour your heritage.
Absolutely.
It's been, as Lena said, a privilege and an honour to have you, and I'm sure we're going to do many, many more.
So now I go away and I cry now, right? Because now listen to me, guys. Honestly, every day in my soul, I work, and I think, how can I do better? How can I help more? How can I do something to make a difference? How can I carry this tradition further? How can I work to open up the doors for people? How can I help? So that's what we do. We do what we can. We do what we can. This is our job. And I really, you know, and just quickly, I know we're going to end, but Italian actors that were my heroes when I was growing up, you know, the Al Pacinos, the Robert De Niros, and people like that, I look at them differently now.
Yeah.
Because they came along in a time when Italians were the immigrants, and they had an easier way to get into the business because we were the hot item at the time. In the 60s and the 70s, it was a lot easier for the Italian Americans. They were new. They were fresh. It was a good thing. But now you look around, they don't help you anymore. They don't look back. They don't reach back and pull somebody up. They don't do that. And it bothers me. And I lost a lot of respect for them because they have made it.
Came from.
Yeah. And you can't do that. You have to bring people along. You got to give back, and you got to pull people with you. And it's very frustrating because everybody's very selfish and self-centered and me. That's not how I work. That's not what I want. That's not the person I want to be, and that's not the kind of work I want to do.
So you're with the same sisters, Lena and I.
Yeah.
It's not about me, it's about us.
Exactly.
The world.
So we go to Sicily and make movies.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I go to Sicily and make movies. So anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for
lovely.
listening to this beautiful episode 4 of Sicilian Queens with Michael Cavilleri, everybody. Stay tuned. Please follow this man. Follow his
Absolutely. And can't wait to watch this man bring this movie to Australia and come through and share his story with all you Italian Sicilians. And I can't wait for that to happen. I'm so excited.
Grazie, amici.
Ciao.
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 Ciao. Buonanotte.
Buonanotte.